Hi everyone, just giving a few minutes to start. Hi Uday, Preeti, Sonali, Aditi, nice to see you. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in whichever part of the world. Hi Ritika, Idyllic Crush, nice to see you too. Great, we'll just wait a few more minutes. I hope everybody is staying safe, doing well. Some of the countries have started opening up at various extents, and I hope things are going well for all of you. Nice. Yesterday we had a very interesting and a beautiful session on ancient food history by My UK Kitchen and Rajesh, Preeti and Rajesh. We are still trying to get over the high of that particular event. Uh, so if you guys are interested in food history, ancient food, food techniques, these guys had created some beautiful uh, setup within their own house and actually transported this usually happening live event into a reality by making it virtual for everybody to join. And I think each one of you, once they put up the video, I think each one of you will enjoy it. Okay, so let's start. My name is Amit Sangekar. माझं नाव आहे अमित सांगेकर. मेरा नाम है अमित सांगेकर. Welcome to Beyond Reading with You, Season 2, Session 9, where we do poetry reading and more. Ooh. Sorry that the Friday Saturday session did not happen, but there were just too many things which we were catching up with. One of the topics which we keep hearing about in these times, currently, since the lockdown started, quarantine started, is wellness or general well being. We touched upon mental well being in one of our last episodes. As we explore different means and ways of wellness in general, one route that keeps coming up is yoga. Today's topic will therefore be Iyengar Yoga and Wellness. Before we get into conversation with our guest today, let me read out this poem from the book The Poetry of Yoga, Volume 1, by Aaron Hoops. The poetry is titled Too Busy to Relax. And it goes like this. Too busy to relax, they say. Complaints, excuses every day. They sound so weak, so stressed, so tired. A mundane world in which they are mired. No time to sit and just be quiet. Their minds a rush of thoughts, a riot. No chance they have to hear the sound of nature's wonder all around, of birds and trees and clouds and air. Too much work, it's just not fair. This really seems quite sad to me. So much to do, no time to be. Breathe, I say, and move a bit. Then after that, we can just sit and watch the world at its own pace. There is no rush, it's not a race. And if it were, what is the goal? Where are you going, mind, body, and soul? Too busy to relax, I hear. These words seem like they're based in fear. Tired, weak, and too much stress. How did our lives turn such a mess? We don't need to look above to find a place that's based in love. Turn instead and look within. Turn instead and look within Find yourself, it is no sin. Forgive, let go, open your heart. It is the only place to start. Think on what, think on that you might find throughout your life you have been blind. Breathe, I say, and move some more. Run, walk, jump, stretch on the floor. Move your body, get up and go. Feel the energy, let it flow. Don't get caught in negative habits that won't let you live. Too busy to relax? Not true at all. This hoax must end. It starts with you all. If all you do is just the same, you never will escape this game. Do something new, do something zen. Begin right now, not if or when. Do one thing different, or two, or five. Change how you live, become alive. Do or do not, there is no try. Step off the cliff and start to fly. Begin with this, you won't go wrong. Remember to breathe deep and long. What lovely lines by Aaron Hoops. And this particular book, it's the entire book of poetry is about yoga, the poetry of yoga as it is called. And I found this particular one extremely touching. And the way some of these poems and some of the teachers who practice yoga have found some very beautiful relationships between yoga and poetry. And I've expressed this in beautiful words in different books. Uh, so, having starting that off, let me now introduce to you the guest for today. The guest for today is UK-based yoga teacher Uday Bhosale. Uday Bhosale conducts yoga classes for all levels and abilities at different places around London. He has been practicing Iyengar Yoga, which was propagated by Yogacharya Shri B.K.S. Iyengar. He began learning directly with Guruji, Geetaji, and Prashantji from about 1999, if I'm not wrong. And over his many years at the Iyengar Institute in Pune, Uday has conducted classes for children, intermediate, and beginner students. In 2015, Uday was also a guest teacher at the 21st French Iyengar Yoga National Convention. Since then, he has been regularly conducting yoga workshops and retreats in United Kingdom, France, Ireland, Germany. Uday was also a member of the teachers contingent sent by the government of India on the International Yoga Day 2016 on behalf of RIMYI Pune. Uday has been conducting yoga workshops and retreats all across UK and in Europe. So, let me get on screen to speak with us. And that is Uday Bhosale for us. Can you hear us, Uday?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you
Great.
hear me?
Thank you. Thank you so much. A very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning. It's a pleasure. Pleasure to be here.
Great. So, I'm going to disable the comments for some time so that the scrolling of people, I'll put it up later once again, once we get into if there are any questions later on. But how, first of all, how has this lockdown been treating you?
Well, funnily enough, I was actually thinking with the lockdown setting in, we'll have some quiet time. I'll put my feet up, spend time reading, doing nothing. But there has been like I would say, a fortunate change, and the situation is quite different. I never realized I could be this busy staying indoors, teaching and conducting
Understood.
classes online.
Okay.
So it has been a pleasant surprise in a way. It has been good to keep myself busy.
Nice. Okay, so
Yeah.
let me dive into the first question straight away. And this, I
Uh-huh.
presume, it seems a very basic question, but what is yoga and what is your understanding of this ancient technique, if I may call it?
Yeah, quite basic question, and you're right about that. But again, it's pretty deep and can go on We can spend perhaps days just discussing this. But in short, if we have to think or answer this question, it's it's an ancient science, of course, as you said. Uh, it's a science, it's a discipline which is there for the entire humankind. It is described as a sarvabhauma mahavratam, so a discipline to be followed by the entire universe. And it's irrespective of what caste, jati, desh, kal, samaya. So irrespective of where you're born, whether you're a man, woman, uh, what class or strata of society you are in, to be followed, to be practiced by everyone. But why? Why should we do that? Or why is this discipline important for everyone? So it basically starts off with uh, dealing with treating our body first. We start from there. It is described in 8 stages. The way it is called, described as Ashtanga Yoga, 8 angas over there, 8 points where we start with Yama, Niyama, Asan, Pranayam. So these are termed as Bahiranga Sadhana, where these are externally practiced disciplines over there. Then comes Pratyahara, which is on the boundary between the Antaranga Sadhana, which leads inwards. So Antaranga Sadhana would be Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. So all these Ashtangas are practiced to take us towards the Chitta Vritti state, as in the mental fluctuations. Quick and easy English translation would be the mental fluctuations that we have, depending upon what are the inputs we get, the sensory inputs that we get. So the mind is always distracted, or mind is always focused on what are these inputs. Based on these inputs, we have our own memory, which either gives us a pleasant feel or a negative feel. So all these fluctuations, we continuously go on riding on these waves, and we never really have a real understanding of what we are. So,
Correct.
so that fluctuation, if we can somewhere try and get ourselves in a still state where we can really start to understand ourselves, as cliched as it may sound, but that's so true, because we always, if we ask, describe yourself, or if I have to tell what I am, it often ends up in what I like, what I dislike, what I do, where I have come from. So all these things are something which is still external. It's still not what you are. So the question, as they say, or as the question is put up, in the search of your own self.
True.
So that's where it starts, or this is what it is about. And it's an interesting journey where you start understanding, analyzing yourself, the way you react, the way you behave. It's a science, it's a discipline which gives you that possibility to study your own self, which is quite interesting, because otherwise you're either good at something, you want to do it more and more. You can't do something, I'm bad at it, I won't do it.
Correct.
This is the easy choice that we take, and nothing wrong about it in a way. But then this is a discipline which makes us study, delve into it. If I dislike, what is the cause of dislike?
True.
If I like, am I overdoing it?
Wow.
So again, that is something which has to be studied. So it's quite interesting to study your own self in that way.
Yeah, and
It's
as
a
you
journey.
rightly said in the beginning, I think that concept or that question itself can run into several hours of discussion as to what yoga or yoga is in terms of that. I had a very interesting observation from your your introduction, which I read online, you were a Taekwondo enthusiast, and you actually moved from Taekwondo to yoga, or possibly were introduced to yoga by somebody who was associated with you in Taekwondo. How did that happen?
Yeah, that's true. So, uh, funnily enough, never at that age had never thought about yoga, never thought about going there because martial arts was quite active, quite strong. I was quite interested, quite dedicated, I would say, about it. So we kept practicing. Fortunately, my master, my teacher, he was a senior student of Guruji.
Okay.
So he blended the yoga practice along with our martial arts practice.
Wow.
And in those teenage years, we didn't know what we are doing. We thought these are exercises which are helping us with Taekwondo practice, and they did, of course. But later on, as my teacher saw my interest, my keenness in practice, and my always curious and asking about things, so he said, "Okay, you seem interested. If you really want to learn, this is the place which you should go at." And was like, "Where?" So this is the place, Ramamani Iyengar Memorial Yoga Institute in Pune. I was like, where is it? Okay, just over a kilometer away from my house. So fine, let's try. And that's how I was introduced to the institute accidentally. I never thought, never imagined I would do that. Never intended, because all the images that we had seen before that was either elderly people sitting, closing their eyes, or someone standing on one leg, raising the arms, Vrikshasana. We were doing something far better, stronger, Taekwondo.
Correct. Yeah.
But then, as my master said, of course, you follow that. You don't question the master. And that's how I landed over there. But then,
Wow.
when I saw what is happening there, I was awestruck.
Awesome. Okay.
That's,
So
yeah.
tell us about, so you were introduced to Iyengar Yoga. So if you could tell us a bit about Iyengar Yoga itself.
Uh, so basically, in in 2000, I forgot the year, but Oxford Dictionary recognized this term as Iyengar Yoga. But Guruji never claimed, or he never really took it that seriously in terms of labeling a brand with his name. He said, what I teach is Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga over there. There is nothing else other than that. So people give different names. It's just what Patanjali's he has given, he has taught us. But how this name came up is quite interesting, actually. I'll briefly just describe about him first, because it's a fascinating story to know about Guruji. He was born in 1918 during world influenza epidemic, something similar to what we have these days. So he was born during that phase with list of illnesses. He said until the age of 16 he never knew what health is. At the age where doctors and other members, of course, he was not from a well to do family financially. So there were recommendations, don't spend money on his health. You are spending for a wasted cause in a way. So he said, fine, if that is the case. His brother in law, T. Krishnamacharya, told, just come along with me, practice, and it should make you feel better. He said, okay, let me try this. And that's how his journey started at the age of 16, where
Wow.
anything he did, any movement he did was full of aches and pains, he said. From there, for a couple of years, he practiced. And of course, it was an intense, rigorous practice, because he said, let me make or break over here, because this is what it is. Anyways, I'm going to, doctors have given me whatever the statement there. So let me try. Maybe in this. This is what will uh, end me. In 2 years, he practiced. He was sent to Pune
Oh,
at the age
okay.
of 18. Imagine a boy at the age of 18 in a new place, in a place where you don't speak the language. and you have to go on your own. You have to earn your livelihood. That's what he was trying to do. From there, with his practice, with his teachings, he built what yoga is. We started what yoga is today, because when he saw the difficulties in people, ailments, problems, how do I help them practice and get the benefit? That is how he started developing various props. The compassionate approach as a teacher made him invent all these props which we see all around us today. That, along with his peculiar method of teaching, where the precision, detailing, and finer adjustments which start bringing the benefits to the students, all this was unique. This was like never before. And hence it got a separate name as, okay, the yoga which Mr. Iyengar teaches.
Correct.
So the Iyengar yoga became a name. The term got coined in that way. He said, this is what Patanjali teaches, or Patanjali has said. It's not something which I will lay my claim on, like that. So that's how the term Iyengar yoga came into picture. He, of course, gave demonstrations worldwide, attracted people by his demonstrations to this art, science, philosophy, because you need to have something which attracts you first.
True.
His demonstrations worked that way. People got awestruck with what he did, the way he did. He used to travel all around with whatever. At those times, we didn't have options like vegetarian and vegan and all those things. He was a strict vegetarian. So there are stories where he would spend months in Europe with just coffee and bread and still do all that he did, teaching for hours throughout the day, giving demonstrations, doing all those things. So that interested people, that gathered people, that made people curious and want to study what this is.
Right.
And that's how it took off. The term Iyengar Yoga, or his method, became popular.
Wow. I'm sure there is. I mean, I do not know how much of his family now still practices or propagates it, but to simply be able to be a part of that entire knowledge itself, which he could impart, is itself a big experience in itself, in terms of what he had to tell us, what how he made it simpler, I presume, for people to be understood.
Absolutely. Of course, his family, the whole family is into it in a way. His daughter, Geeta ji, who passed away a year ago, uh, she, his son, Prashant ji, they both were fully into this.
Okay.
Even the other family members, his other daughters, practiced. Sunita ji is still practicing teaching.
Okay.
So the entire family is involved. Now, Abhijata, his granddaughter, she is, of course, a big practitioner, teacher, well loved, I would say, world over in the
Right.
community.
So, tell me, now this is a possibly a two-part question, is how has this entire being a part of yoga, Iyengar yoga,
Hmm.
helped you personally, benefited you personally, and hence I want to draw parallels to what people think they could be benefited by because of this.
So, to be honest, as I started at the early age, means started Taekwondo practice in 94, 93, 94, and was practicing it since then. Got introduced to the institute in 99. So during those formative years, I have always been practicing, or I have been a student since then. So in a way, I cannot imagine what it could have been without this. So I don't have a previous history where there was no like I had all these say wrong habits, or life was a mess, and then yoga helped me come out of all that. But few things which were like I was quite shy in the school days. Even my school friends, actually, when they see me now or when they've uh, seen me in the classes, they're quite surprised to see what I have been. I was a quite timid, shy child in the school. Barely you would recognize me in there in the school time. Any answer teacher would ask me, a question teacher would ask me, I would hesitate to answer, in even if I would knew the answer. That level of shyness. So it has changed me as a person in terms of being able to communicate freely, respond easily, freely with others. Uh, it has definitely given me everything that I would say I have now. The affection that I receive from colleagues, students, friends all over. So it has definitely benefited me. I can't imagine any like life without this. Uh, it has changed me for better, I would say, if at all that is true. So whatever is better in me, I think I should give credit to this practice and the teachings of
Okay.
my gurus here.
There are a couple of students of yours who, during the at least the initial part, mentioned that one of them is able to actually walk properly now after a long ache in her knees because of yoga, which because of what she's been learning with you.
Okay. So, again, an interesting thing actually. As I said initially, we start from the Bahiranga sadhana, so which is the body. Yoga is quite, it's an interesting science disguised in a way. We start working on the body because that's important. We cannot neglect the body. Body has to be addressed. Though philosophically or spiritually, it is spoken about like you have to address the mind, you have to deal with the soul, address the soul, whatnot. It can often sound too much of a jargon, like philosophical jargon there,
Correct.
because it's easy to just use these terms where it starts getting disconnected. Body is what we have. Without this body, you cannot access your mind, you cannot access your soul. So that's simple, right? So we have to start there. So it's a science when I said disguise because we start addressing the body. Any ailments, aches, pains, of course, we have to work on that and address that. And from there, that's the start, that's the beginning. From that, as we start improving, benefiting, our state of mind starts to change. Knowingly, unknowingly, we start addressing the mind aspect over there. So it has to start at that level. And again, credit goes to Guruji here because he started devising sequences, props, which would benefit people in such conditions. Someone having knee problem, back problem, common ailments which make our life miserable. Because if you can imagine, all of us would know we would have some point of time where we have some physical discomfort and we cannot say, okay, my knee is bad, but rest otherwise I'm really good, I'm in the best of my spirits. Doesn't happen, to be honest. If we say
Correct.
like that, we are often lying. That pain grips us throughout. Any discomfort, anything which stops us from behaving like a normal person or what we used to do, if we get restrictions put on the way we have this lockdown situation, these restrictions are disturbing mentally, emotionally. So we need to overcome that. So we practice, we have to learn to overcome these ailments, aches, pains, and that liberates us from the physical level, or as in the physical discomfort. That is how we have to take a step further. We have to evolve from that. So it's a very interesting transition starting from there.
Okay.
We have to take that into consideration, but then take it higher, take it further. It would be wrong to remain just stuck within that.
Understood.
Okay, I'm pain free. Let me just work on that. Because again, it's a perishable thing. Our body is supposed to hit its peak, prime, and thereafter perish as well. There should be some reason, there will be some cause for us to perish.
Correct.
So, when the curve has a downward trend with the physical abilities, it should not again get us into that restless state. So, being able to deal with that, we have to. Uh, that's how the Kriya Yoga is described as tapas, swadhyaya, ishwar, pranidhan. It's a combination of all these three
All
things
these
together.
together. True.
So, if we have this, if our study, if our practice unites this together, then it's a pleasant journey throughout life. And that's what it has to actually help us do. Basically, simply put, I would say yoga just teaches us to live life to the fullest. Again, a cliched statement, maybe, but then doesn't happen often.
True.
If we think about it, we are always with the memory or with the thoughts which keep on influencing us. We're always either happy, either frustrated, there's some anxiety, there's some jealousy. Things just keep on colluding, or it keeps the mind always impure with all these things.
True. And it takes a incident like this now, a kind of a lockdown for people to go back and think, oh my God, what have I been doing? Or things like that. Now,
Indeed, in a way, actually, of course, for those who have been impacted badly, it's an unfortunate thing. But others, those who've been fortunate, it's a great chance to have a reset button over here, to
correct.
just sit back, think, analyze the way the life that you were living before, and just try to have an analysis of it done over there. This is a once in a lifetime chance maybe for us in that way. Again, like as I said, we have to be compassionate, or we cannot say that it's easy and rosy for everyone. But those who have been unfortunate, it's really
Absolutely.
sad. We have to empathize with them. But for those who have not been struck, it's an opportunity.
True. So tell me, how did this transition from learning yoga to teaching yoga happen?
Okay. Well, again, a funny incident or funny story there. As I started practicing at the institute, before that, I was practicing martial arts and I was already teaching martial arts by then. So I continued both. My martial art interest, of course, was then quite strong there. So that teaching went on, and happy to be at the institute, happy to be at a place where there was this huge world renowned personality, people from world over flocking in there. Just continued practicing there and used to go practice, do my classes back. Once while walking out, the Guruji was seated. Guru at the institute in Pune. The institute is at the front, and just behind the institute, Guruji and his family lived. His family still lives there. So he used to sit around there, and it was quite easy to like namaskar to him, at times talk. He said, "Hey, come here." I went, "Yes, Guruji." He said, "Go and talk to his secretary and tell him I've told you to start teaching a class." I was a bit zapped back then. I said, "What? Really?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, go and tell him." So I just went in. It's a world renowned institute. How am I supposed to, or I'm just being fortunate to be allowed to come and practice? I'm supposed to teach her. I told him, like, Secretary, sir, Guruji has just told me this. I don't know. By then, I think actually the plans or the schedule for the next year was already done by him. So it didn't happen, I think. I thought Guruji must have said and forgotten.
Wow.
I'm one of hundreds who just walk into this institute. How would he know me? Or he would have easily forgotten me. A few months or some time later, then again he said, I told you and you didn't listen. I was like, what? I told you to tell him and start teaching. Then I said, okay, that was not a passing comment, or this
Oh boy.
person doesn't say anything casually like that. That's how I started. Then fine,
My
okay,
God.
I will start practicing and teaching that.
I think there were a couple of people who said thank you, say thank you to Guruji that he asked you to do that because now they have a good teacher in you. So
Oh
I'm
well,
sure.
kind
So
of them to say that, and it's thanks to Guruji.
but nice. But
Because
I think some of these people have this a knack of actually knowing who could actually take this art forward in a way they have envisioned it to be taken, rather than just some kind of a fad, if I have to call it.
well, I hope that's what he thought when he said that to me.
No.
But definitely he had, like, there are so many. We can have perhaps a prolonged separate session about all these incidences with, and even so many others would have loads and loads of incidences. He could see through. He could see
True.
you, and but we used to describe he's a visual scanner over there. He just sees you and he reads you. So you cannot hide anything. You cannot have something at the back of your mind, some wicked thoughts, and try to portray something else on your face. He
True.
could read you. So
Awesome.
it was almost like you are bare and naked in front of him. You just cannot hide anything there. So he could definitely read. And as if what you said, I hope that is true.
No,
I
I'm
hope to
sure,
be.
and I think your students agree with it. Uh, Now, I'm going to ask you a very specific question about the current scenario. I mean, people hold up inside their, I shouldn't use the word hold up, but people now limited to staying at their homes, people not having much to do to go outside and do stuff, and people facing a lot of issues just because of this change. Uh, how does yoga and this current scenario come together and help in any manner if it could?
So, as Prashantji has said, like, this is, you cannot go outside. This is a brilliant chance to go inside. So why not go for that exploration? So this is again a wonderful opportunity. Our mind usually is always drawn outwards with our senses. We want to look at something, we want to listen to something, we want we feel something. So all the sensory inputs are always constantly drawing the mind outwards, and that's how it starts identifying with the likes and dislikes. So continuously it's in that state. So when we start to bring it within, when we start, so that's where I said the pratyahara state, which is described in Ashtanga Yoga, is where we draw our senses within. It's described like a tortoise drawing itself in a shell. So that, if it is possible to do, we have a great chance of exploring, taking a journey inwards, and that exploration can again take us away from all these negative thoughts which we have. Like, if you're not able to do something, you're not allowed to do something, there is always a restlessness.
Correct.
So that's the mental fluctuation. That's what the vrittis in a way are about. It 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 keeps on playing havoc in the mind. So it's a brilliant chance for, again, I repeat, like, those who are unfortunately affected by this situation. It still can help them come out of it, because that situation needs to be dealt with. We,
Correct.
where when the chitta vritti nirodh, what yoga is described as, it doesn't mean you become inert to external things over there. You definitely will be feeling the sense of happiness, joy. At times, there are incidences which will make you feel otherwise. But how we process it and how we can come out of that phase, that is what yoga practice teaches us, or that is what yoga practice is all about. starting from the physical level, addressing the mind in this way. So, a great chance for us to do that in these times. And that's actually the reason why, as soon as this lockdown situation seemed evident, me and my wife Sonali, we were thinking, like, what can we do about this? Is there anything that we can, knowing that the subject has this to offer, how we can present it? Because all the classes which we used to do before were in some premises and the
Correct.
physical presence over there. And that's where the online classes we explored. We just tried it out with our family, friends first, then a trial class for students, and it has worked really well since then. Every day I have at least 4 or 5 emails coming in saying how practicing regularly with this online mode has helped them. It has played a role of an anchor for the day, how it has helped to just lead their life throughout this turbulent times.
Awesome.
So, really grateful to have this kind of opportunity, as in being able to do this, being able to help colleagues and fellow practitioners, and being able to have this kind of impact.
Super. So anybody who is listening, if you are interested, I've just put up a few contact things. One is his website, yogawithuday.com. You will get to know more about the sessions there. His Instagram handle is also mentioned there, so you can reach out to there anywhere you wish to. There is one last question I want to ask you before I let you go.
Sure.
This was a very beautiful initiative of Yogis Unite with NHS, which was done recently. If you could just tell us about it, because I found it to be an extremely innovative exercise to help out people who actually need help at this time.
Uh, True. So, as these classes started working out, and we were just happy that we could offer this, the thought came while discussing with other colleagues over here that why not do something which can, of course, help those who are in need? Let's try and work out some solution for that. So, just with a casual chit chat discussion like that, this thought came up: let's arrange classes. What we can do right now is offer classes, which has been proving helpful for students. So, all these senior teachers from UK, immediately we just approached a few. There's a big list of wonderful teachers in UK. We are fortunate for that over here. Uh, we just reached out to first few, thinking, okay, let's start with them. Everyone immediately jumped in. They said, okay, brilliant, we are
Awesome.
in. Anything you want. That's how we started. We gathered it, and within, I think, couple of weeks, not even more than that, week and a half, I think, we put out we announced that event. Amazing response. Abhijata, Guruji's granddaughter from Pune, she agreed to teach for the cause.
Awesome.
Brilliant participation. Everything worked out brilliantly. All the teams, the therapy committee who prepared a sequence for practice to recover from this infection, COVID infection, how they can gradually bring themselves back. That program was so well appreciated. So it turned out really well, and I'm really pleased about the fact that we have gathered more than 34,000 pounds now.
Brilliant. That
So
is
that
absolutely brilliant. Wow.
links are still open, and we will keep it open for some more time. But we're really chuffed about this thing. We didn't realize, or we didn't think at the time of doing it, that it could be to this scale.
No, I think it's been my experience that especially during these times, small things which have been started by people without actually thinking about how big it could get have actually turned out to be extremely touching events which people have leaped at and actually taken advantage of for their own self, as well as giving back to others also.
Absolutely. And another example is our yesterday's event.
Yes, absolutely
Just at short notice, a few
true.
days ago, not even weeks, few days ago, with a casual chat with Preeti, we came up with this thought, and then of course you all went on working so
Okay.
hard in the background, and within that short span, you've put up what you did yesterday, which was phenomenal. I was just
So
so
for all
so
those who are
floored.
listening in, this is reference to Two Hands UK charity meals event, which was for the first time. This was the fifth event, but it was the first time done virtually. Thanks to I mean the idea is Preeti and Rajesh, My UK Kitchen and Devra here on Instagram, and people like Uday and me got a chance to support it in our own manner, in whichever way we could, and it was an amazing. And I'm sure this will come up on My UK Kitchen's profile soon to see what really happened on that day. And I think you must do it. But Uday, for today, I must say thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Oh, pleasure.
I think here is somebody else is mentioning that you and your wife, I presume Sonali, have been a
So
great inspiration for them. So I'm sure
thank you.
there's been a way you have touched people in your own ways. It's been really nice speaking to you. It's
Pleasure.
And thank you for all that you have told us today. I hope people take back whatever they wish to take back from this and become a part of yoga, or if not yoga, whatever makes them, as you said, delve inside and find out what the entire journey is all about. So
Th-
thank you once again. It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Once you also disconnect, you
Uh-huh.
should listen to the next person who has a poetry. And I think it's a very nice poetry. She's just shared it with me about a few hours back.
Sure.
You should just hear it, and it's written by her. So you will enjoy this poetry.
Definitely
Okay.
looking
Thank you
forward
so
to
much,
that.
Uday.
Thank
Really
you so much for
pleasure.
this. Thank you
Take
so much
care.
for inviting. Thanks. Do I just
Wow. So, guys, I hope this was a very interesting session for all of you. You guys could take something back from this. Now, I'm going to quickly add uh, our guest from Sydney, Australia, and I'm waiting.
Hi,
Hi, Preeti, how are you?
good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Very nice to see you once again. I like this the weekly Sunday interactions of people from one part of the globe with another part of the globe. But very
Yeah.
nice. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm not going to ramble too much because I know you have something very interesting to read out. So I'm literally going to hand it over to you right now.
Yeah. Okay. So it's very funny that I'm going to read a poem which Uday actually spoke about delving inside. So the idea of this poem came about. I do yoga every Saturday morning. I mean, not just every Saturday morning, but one of the days is Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, and most of the times I'm pretty groggy because I've had late night Fridays with friends. So it's pretty much like, why am I crazy to do yoga on a Saturday morning? So that was the inspiration for this poem itself. And I guess through the poetry, I kind of like Uday said, it's about delving inside. It's kind of a self reflection. Yeah. Before I start, I do want to say that I have used actual Sanskrit names of the yoga poses in the poetry. So if I mispronounce anything, then yeah, apologies, because I'm not really good at pronouncing Sanskrit. Okay. So the poem's titled "Confessions of a Mystic." A usual Saturday morning, I wake up groggy for a 9 a.m. yoga at the park. Inner peace, exactly that I need now. I hear Hasta Uttanasana. I bend backwards. I look up. The clouds engulfing the sky. My past engulfing my present. I hear Adho Mukha Suasana. I bend forward. I look behind. Those tree roots look massive. My roots stronger than ever. I hear Palakasana. I quickly move. I am a plank. Everyone else seems balanced. My life, the imbalance so evident. I hear Balasana. Like a child, I rest back. Mind wanders. My umpteen chores. I wish I never grew up. I hear Tadasana. I look at the focal point, standing on one leg. Everyone tries not to stumble. My focus always nebulous. I hear Shavasana. Time for a tiny nap. Counting and breathing deep. I am counting my fears. Breathing out insecurities, breathing in love. I hear Pranamasana. I move my hands to my heart. The air, the sunshine, the collective kindness. I have extreme gratitude for everything. Clarity, confusion, mind, body, balance, inequality. A self reflective mood caused by a hangover from a usual Friday evening.
Wow. Awesome. So I'll just like to tell everybody that Preeti is also a yoga student herself. So she has. So it's not really that. And I asked this very stupid question that did you really read up on all the asanas? She said, "Dude, I do those asanas every day, so I know
I try.
about it."
What I do, I try.
But no, it's extremely beautiful. And how did you find today's session, Preeti?
Very good, very good. I think I like the whole concept of delving within, especially with this situation that we are in. It has given us an opportunity to not just go out, but to actually look within. So I think that was a very nice takeaway from that whole session.
Awesome. Very nice. And I don't know if you happen to read a lot of people saying Preeti is too good. Preeti is extremely good with his words. Beautiful
Thank you.
poem. I'll let you bask in the glory of those words right now. But no, seriously, Preeti, seriously, it's a beautiful poem, and I think possibly for a lot of people. The meanings of those various asanas are not possibly easily conveyed a lot of times, and hence possibly that could become a stumbling block or a block for them to not really take to yoga. But when, as I said in the beginning, when poetry and yoga, people have combined it together, and a lot of people have found extreme solace in those kind of poems. I can totally relate as to how this poem would really, I mean, it opens up your mind to so many things. And Aditi also mentioned here right now when she was saying that she could relate to what you were saying when you were reciting it. So,
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. So it's not just me self-reflective. It's good.
no, no,
It's
very
good.
good. So, Preeti, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for always being there at the fag end of your day, literally entering into a working week and being there on this session. Thank you so much. And you take care of yourself. I will
Yep.
speak to you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Wow. So Preeti, as usual, with her beautiful lines, and a big thank you to Uday for being a part of this session, for all the insights he gave us, for telling us a few those incidents which possibly with Guruji, when he's referring to Guruji Sri Iyengar, where you would never ever know that these incidents happened and how his transition from a student to a teacher happened. Brilliant listening to all of that. I hope you guys had some kind of a takeaway to take away from this session. Please take care of yourself. This is Amit Sangekar signing off from Beyond Reading with You, Season 2, Session 9.